Hello, everyone. Welcome to GunnerKing's Court. I've got Gums on today. He's obviously quite hungry. But yeah, we are going to be discussing the latest transfer news. So, yeah, I mean, there's quite a few stories today. It's been very busy, not just for Arsenal. United have secured Sancho. Things starting to pick up now, I think. Teams getting knocked out of AFCON, teams getting knocked out of the European competitions, players coming back from holiday. I think the movement is really going to pick up from here. So, Gums, as always, it's always good to have you on the show.
Appreciate it.
No worries. Yeah, it was a good show yesterday as well. The official launch of the Armoury TV, and yeah,
big up our adopted family, our extended family. Yeah. Thanks for them for coming on. Yeah, it was a good show, man. It was a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole GOAT debate thing between Keane and Vieira, I think got settled in our favour, if I'm being honest. But yeah, James, good to see you.
Nice. Yeah, I'm hungry, James. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, exactly, man. He looks like yeah, he's definitely not eating all day or something, man. But
mate,
yes,
it's one of them. Literally, I ran through the door like 2 minutes ago. The first thing I found was an ice pop. I grabbed it, and upstairs I came. So it's all for the love.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Guys got to eat, man. But Trust me. Look, let's get into it with the first story that I want to look at today. Nuno Tavares to Arsenal is done. Here we go. The official stamp from the man himself, Fabrizio Romano. Paperwork to be signed today between AFC and Benfica board. 8 million plus add-ons, which I believe can take it up by like another 2-3 million euros. Interest was initially triggered in their potential negotiations for a Guendouzi deal. Guendouzi, of course, favouring a move to Olympique Marseille. Back to France, I think, with him just having a need. So all in all, personally, I've not watched a great deal of him. I've done the YouTube kind of video here and there since we've been linked to him.
Yeah,
really left field for me. Doesn't look bad. Looks like he's got a very decent cross on him. Very athletic. Looks very quick and direct going forward. Is able to find crosses either aerially or along the ground. I've not seen much of his defensive work, and that concerns me because, if you're a fullback and all your highlight reels are just you going forward, it would suggest to me that there is a deficiency defensively, or
to be fair, the only
tackle, but yeah, I don't know.
the only fullback who you're going to find videos of them defending is Wan-Bissaka because he don't do much going forward. So I think most fullbacks, you are going to find their highlight reels are going to be of them beating players or delivering crosses because that's what everyone's looking for in the fullback, isn't it? Even when you look at the Ben White videos, very much not much about him defending. It's him on the ball, his passing range, or him beating players or coming out with the ball. So yeah, I do hear what you're saying. Again, I've watched a few videos. I don't watch much, just because again, them videos can be misleading. I'd much rather do the eye test once if he's in, and then we get to see him in pre-season. So I'd much rather do the eye test. But I'm happy with the signing. Again, not knowing much about him. And to be fair, we've made a similar signing for the last couple of years. Last year was Martinelli came in for that kind of price. Very unknown from Brazil. He was playing a lot lower than Benfica in equivalence for Brazilian league. He was League 2 in Brazil or League 3. He was very low and come in has done really well. Equally, Guendouzi, another one the year before he came in for a similar price of 7 million. Wasn't expecting to see him in and around the first team straight away, and he burst on the scene. So actually, these are the signings which Arsenal, when I grew up in Arsenal, these are the kind of signings we were making. Those times, it was 500,000 to $1 million. Do you know what I mean? You think of Vieira and Anelka. We're getting them guys for pennies. Kolo Touré, Abu, do you know what I mean? Abue, getting them for pennies. And they went on to prove on to be massive players for us. So yeah, his role is not going to be to start straight away, but hopefully he's ready if Kieran Tierney does get injured or needs a rest. Hopefully he can step up straight away. But yeah, I think it's a positive signing regardless. It's an area we need addressing, and they've addressed it in a way which you suggested a while ago about getting a young fullback, not a old guy. So
yeah, I was going to get that as well.
Yeah, so that all them things are just positives. Like regardless of what he does, if he doesn't, just say he's okay, he doesn't replace Tierney as such. You still probably make more money on him when if you come to sell him in 3 years. Then
he would have
do you know what I mean? Then you lose.
Or his pedigree because he's got that Premier League experience under his belt. So even if it didn't work out, it didn't work out in a tougher league, right? So he's gonna
he could easily go to a France or go back to Portugal and be 15, 20 million. Do you know what I mean? Because of his age and like you said, experience. If we do get back into Europe playing for, do you know what I mean, an established English club in Europe in a harder league, week in, week out, we'll stand him in good stead. So, yeah, I think just for that, it's a positive signing. Definitely.
Yeah, I think, all in all, you're right. I would have sooner tried our hand at doing this. It didn't work than getting a Bertrand or a Van Aanholt, because even the transfer fee and his wages aren't going to be.
Yeah, they'd be penny. That'd be 20,000, 30,000 maybe a week.
So it overall, just because you're paying a transfer fee, it doesn't mean that it's going to be more expensive than to bring either of those guys in, who are going to want top dollar, because they've got the Premier League experience, and especially with Bertrand, he's got the pedigree. He's played with Chelsea, he's played Champions League football, he's played international football. So he's going to want top wedge, and he's going to want a big signing on fee, the bonuses, all of the trappings that come with a free signing. A lot of people just think, well, it's free, throw money in it. But they don't think of the wider context. Like if a player's not costing a club a transfer fee, you best believe the player and his people are milking that until the cow comes home.
Yeah, they're going to sting you. And we're going to touch on that a bit later with news that we've just both heard, you know what I mean? And that's where this does make sense, because again, it's like looking at Guendouzi. We're not actively probably going to force him out. We're going to hold as much as possible and get the right money for him. We're going to activate the 1 year extension, and we probably got no intention of playing him. That extension is there just to get a bit more money. Whereas then you flip on the flip side of the Mustafis and those guys. We will call a name out a bit later. I'm not going to call it now, so I don't want to spoil it for later on. But those guys, it's a completely different ball game, and now actually you're now spending money to get rid of them, rather than like we'll say with Guendouzi, you're protecting the asset by giving him another year, which might put an extra 5 mil on the transfer fee. So yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. I think, I'm intrigued to see how he does pre-season.
Yeah, definitely.
I accept that he is back up to Tierney's, and he's probably going to need to be polished in training. The coaching staff are going to have to work with him closely, regardless of of how talented he is, because he's stepping up, right, from
definitely,
to the Premier League. So it's a big step up. Can't wait to see him in pre-season. And it's good that this is looking like the first transfer. But what I think we're going to do is we're going to probably sit on it. I've got a feeling, and you've heard it here first, I think we're going to wait and announce Tavares, Ben White, and Lokonga at the same time, which is who we're going to go into now. Yeah, I think they want to make a splash, like a bit of a statement, announce these guys with a bit of flair, to kind of get fans back on board. But,
yeah.
It leads to the next story anyway. Obviously, Osman, again, another very trusted source amongst Arsenal circles. He has also broke the news that the deal to sign Tavares is pretty much done, and that we also are very close, and I think it is done actually, the Lokonga one as well, for all intents and purposes. So, great to have those two wrapped up. Lokonga, I think, as I said, for me, fits the profile of a central midfielder who, like Xhaka, can progress the ball forward if he's told to, if he's instructed to by the coach.
He's given time, or if he's given time, no pressure.
Time and no pressure. But I think what Xhaka can't do he's not. He can carry the ball, but in terms of being able to progress it over longer distances with kind of pace and athleticism, you know, that kind of drive that we speak of, that the likes of Vieira had back in the day.
Yeah,
that's what I want to bring back to the mold. And you know, you look at this guy, he looks tall, very strong, athletic.
he's not that tall from what I heard. So I've got a bit of first-hand knowledge. I know someone who's played against him.
Yeah, he was saying Marvin. Yeah, he looks good on the ball as well. You know,
he said honestly, he said he's unreal. He said and he said he played centre back in that game. Lukongo played centre back as well. Yeah. And he said he was brilliant. He said he was unreal. He said like so comfortable on the ball, just got around the pitch. He was just everywhere. Like he said, if he was taller, he would actually be a really, really good centre back. Read the game really well, but just dominated the game. And this was about 2 years ago. He said he played against him, so he would have been a baby. And he said he was brilliant. So so I'm excited for this one.
Where did we play with him?
So he must have went on tour with Livingston at the time. So they must have played down there to the preseason friendly, and he was playing. Hopefully we get Marvin on one day anyway. But from things again, Armoury give it the certificate. I know Armoury got one or two wrong before, because didn't he say who was that midfielder? He said he was like the best. Oh, Mark Randall. Do you remember Armoury said like he's the best player he's seen at that age, and then he didn't really amount to much. So hopefully Armoury gets this one right.
I mean, it's what we were talking about on the show yesterday, right? You know, like a lot of the United lot say that Morrison, genuinely, like all their players, Ferguson, fans that I speak to that were watching him at youth level at that time, were saying he's probably the best youth prospect they've ever seen. But it's another thing entirely to the big stage. And I think
what you do,
that's what I'm gonna. Sorry, just last sentence quickly. Yeah, that's what I think going into this season. No matter who we sign, when I saw us sign Willian and a few other players, Partey last season, we got gassed. You saw the Partey video. I don't want to see none of that this season. Do you know what I mean? I just want to see us just do our business and quietly go about our business afterwards. Because we don't want to big them up too much or give them too much pressure. But yeah, he looks like a talent.
Yeah. Definitely. Do you know what's funny though? Like, and maybe it does tie in with the whole youth thing as well. Like I know what you're saying about Ravel Morrison, and sometimes the players with the most ability don't actually turn out to be the best pros or make it the highest in the league in terms of where they play. Do you know what I mean? Hold on, let's see my man Monday. Yes, my brother. Everything good. So sometimes the ability in that level in 23s or whatever, because again, you can almost look at Nketiah. Now, I'm not going to compare him and Balogun because they haven't started their careers yet, let's be honest, and Nketiah might flourish. But Nketiah's obviously goal scoring record's crazy down at that level. Even on England under 21s holds the record. But the step up to like first team, Balogun might take to it better, even though his record's not as good in the 23s. He might take to it better. Again, Reece Nelson and Sancho were probably the highest rated players at that age group. And not saying Reece Nelson hasn't kicked on, but Saka's come from nowhere and gone past. Smith Rowe's obviously doing really well as well. So his step up is quite big. And it's yes, some people take to it, some people don't. You find players who weren't as gifted, but just done their job, have better careers than some of the most gifted players out there. Look at like Adel Taarabt. Like he was so gifted. And then
he was saucy,
I don't even know where he's playing now. Do you know what I mean? Balassi's another one, unreal ability and had a good career. Don't get me wrong, but you'll find some average players would actually have a better career just because they do what's kind of asked of them. So, and that kind of goes hand in hand with some of the transfers as well. I think the last couple of years we've seen some big transfers, and they haven't amounted to much. And actually, some of the ones that have gone a bit quieter under the radar or just an average transfer. They actually do more. So like you can go through your Hazard. He hasn't produced at Real Madrid. Coutinho, Dembele, like Barcelona were signing players for 100 million a season, didn't produce. João Felix hasn't really produced.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? There's been a lot of players that level who've gone. Man United were renowned for signing. You know what I mean? Di Maria didn't really produce, and then you sign someone on a bit of a cheap, and they actually might step up and do more. So yeah, football's a funny thing, isn't it? And sometimes if you've got too much too soon or too early, it can have a negative effect on you because you might lose that little bit of work rate. You think you've made it, and actually that could be a detriment to you. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think that's the credit. That's where Ronaldo, to me, comes into his own. Doesn't matter how good he is, he works harder than anybody to still stay at the top.
I think, in terms of what you were saying there, like, Reece Nelson, we thought the same as well. When you were,
I'm not saying Reece isn't going to be a top player. He might kick on.
Yeah, when I was watching the three of them, ESR, Smith Rowe, and Saka, he stood out. He stood out. When I went to watch Blackpool a few years ago, I think it was in the Carling Cup. That was the first time I saw ESR at the carpet live. I was literally pitch side, and ESR was just he was on job. But Nelson as well, like those two were running the show. They really were, but I think I don't think it's anything against Reece Nelson.
No, not at all.
Apparently, I was on the Eagle show just before this. Arsenal have offered Reece Nelson a contract, a 4-year one.
Oh, brilliant.
But what we've said is there will be a loan. Like, so we've said,
you've got to go.
We'll extend it. We're going to loan you next season. And then we're going to try and integrate you into the team as the year goes on. But the other option, they've said he is exploring his options because he might be looking for first team football. So that might force our hand into selling him. We are not actively trying to force Reece Nelson out the door. And I think bringing Willian in brought the game time away from him, which was unfortunate. But this is how we deal with the situation now. I think we give him an ultimatum. You have by this date to decide, or we sell you regardless. But we do that. We are trying to keep him and do what we can.
No, and it makes sense. And again, sometimes it could just be a physical thing. Maybe he's physically just not. He hasn't maybe not grown into his man body yet. Do you know what I mean? That makes a difference. As much as he's a top athlete, that little bit of power at that level makes such a difference. And I saw him starting to get it towards the end of a few games he did play. You could see physically he was maturing a bit. So hopefully we do manage to sign him up. But again, he will see players his age who are playing first team football elsewhere, and he might be thinking, actually, it's time for me to bounce because I don't want to go stale here. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of teams who would probably take me and I'll be playing 30 games a season. So if he was to make that decision, hopefully we put a buyback or something in there because, again, he's one of ours, isn't he? No one wants to see some of their top prospects go. But I'm hoping we can hold on to him. Hopefully they can, secure the deal where he's happy with the contract. He's going to get a good loan. No, again, for me, a loan's the most important thing for some of them young players because they need minutes as currency.
Premier League team as well. Sorry to interrupt there.
I
want to be a Premier League team.
I think he's good enough for a Premier. I don't think he needs to do a year in the Championship. No. Do you know what I mean? But I feel for him because this year was a wasted year for him. Do you know what I mean? It is harsh. And again, that's the one criticism, not one criticism of Willian, but that is a major one. More than his performances, I don't really. Is what it is. He didn't have a great year with him, but actually the fact that Reece Nelson may have got 10 more games under his belt, and then we could really have judged him to see where he was at. That's more upsetting for me that he didn't get the minutes he should have got this year.
Yeah, I'd agree 100% as well. And I think there's two sides of it, right? So look, my stance on Arteta. Like, I don't bother with the in or out thing or anymore because it's not going to change. Like Kroenke isn't suddenly going to decide that he's going to get rid of him and get an experienced manager. I feel it is a waste of energy. I feel obviously what we should look at in the wider context is why he was put there in the first place. So that it for me, it just traces to the owner. But I on the Twitter spaces with a lot of people I'm involved in, I mean, like, I know how you're going to feel about this as well. I hear these tropes. Arteta can't work with youngsters, just because a few of them didn't work out, And I think I just want to say, like, as an aside, I think we need to be careful, because the best of managers, have some young players it doesn't work out with. Obviously, we shout out to the United Agenda guys that are in here.
Yes,
We've got
Solo, my
Monday.
brother.
Solo. It was great to have you guys on the show last night. But yeah, you look at Fergie's class of 92, Nicky Butt and Phil Neville, they had the talent. They were part of that class. It didn't work out. They went to a lesser club. They went to a club that was more within their station, or in some cases a few, and they went on to have good careers. We look at, because as I was saying on Eagle's show, yeah, we look at a few young players and then we're like, oh, Arteta can't manage youngsters because Guendouzi had an attitude, and instead of putting an arm around his shoulder, we let him go, and Reece Nelson and all these. But it's like, look at the best performers. If I want you, Gums, to name your top 3 performers from our season last season.
Saka, Smith Rowe, and I would joint say Tierney and Lacazette. Tierney, yeah, them two together. And Gabriel I think Gabriel was good. If I say 5, I'll go that as a 5. I know you said 3, I'm giving you a 5.
Yeah. I mean,
Gabriel was good as well.
I was having this discussion the other day. People were like, I don't really class Tierney as a young player. What, he's 24? Still young. I mean, in relative terms, for a defender, that is young, right?
Very, yeah. And into a new season, into a new team as well, new country.
Yeah, Smith Rowe and Saka, I mean, they're clearly young players. And the last one, was
Lacazette. And Gabriel's young as well.
24? No, he's younger than that.
Gabriel's 22. Yeah.
There you go. So, I mean, Arteta doesn't work well with youngsters, yet 3 of the 4 of the best performers you picked were youngsters.
Yeah, definitely.
But we get it. He got it wrong with Nelson. Edu, they got it wrong with Nelson. They brought Willian in. They gave him the game time Nelson would have had. But I just think we need to chill sometimes,
Yeah, no, we do.
And the other one that I hear a lot is, when I was on the show, we need to renew his contract. We don't want another Gnabry situation. Dude, look, we get it. It happened. It was a mistake. It was bodged. At the time, the players that we had, he wasn't better than them at the time. That's real. He had to go away to get better. With Chelsea, with De Bruyne, Lukaku, Salah, we banner Chelsea fans. We banner them. Yeah. But what it comes down to is, at the time, they weren't better than your Oscars, your Lampards, your Willians at that time. So that's just the way football works. Even the biggest and better run teams let some through the waistline, and that some of them go on to become world class. And I think
some will go on and do nothing. You don't hear from them again.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, it works both ways, as you're saying.
Yeah. And again, you could look at Rene Adelaide's gone on. He's doing okay. He might kick on. He might not. He's doing okay. He's at Lyon. You look at ZLM, who I can't remember who was saying his passing range was the best. They were saying his passing range is up there with Fabregas. He's playing in America now. Do you know what I mean? Then you might get the flip side of Benacer, who might not have been rated as highly, but he's kicked on. So I said, development's a funny thing. The boy who at 13 doesn't look like much, at 17 could be your best player. You see it all the time with academies offering boys their squad pros at 12, 13. They have a dip, and all of a sudden the boy they got rid of is now flourishing. And it's just, sometimes you've got to take time. You can't get everything correct. I do get the frustration, when you now look at Donnell Malin and you look at Benacer, but at the same time, do you know what? We probably did offer them contracts. It was probably, they didn't like being told maybe you got to wait 2 seasons before you break in, because this team over at PSV is saying you're coming straight in and you're playing from now. So we're at it. Football is changing. Agents are a lot more heavily involved. These guys, before they go into negotiations, they know probably exactly who's going to play, who's going to take them, how much you're going to get paid if you go across there, what your game time is going to be like. So the power is with the players. Like you said, Chelsea lost Salah, De Bruyne, probably a few others who we won't know a lot of Chelsea's academy, but they've had a lot of young players who have just gone on and doing what they're doing.
It does hurt Chelsea fans,
but it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? You can't change it. I look at Man United sometimes. Someone plays for Dwight McNeil, and they'll be a centre back, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, they're Man." You've seen them break through at Burnley, think a good player, and it's when they play United, and you say, "Oh yeah," they say, "Oh, Dwight McNeil was at Man United Academy as a youngster." And it's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know that." But when you've got Rashford, you've got Greenwood, do you know what I mean? You've got players in there, then yeah, one or two of them can't get through. And them conversations probably were had with McNeil saying, look, you can stay, but he could see who's in front of him. Really honestly, you're playing under 18 football and you're not starting much. You know who the next one up, or you've got an under 14 playing up 3 years, because there's under 14s in Arsenal who are playing in the under 18s. So if he's a left back and you're a left back and you're under 18 and this under 14's playing ahead of you in the under 18s, you're thinking, well, I might as well go, because when he comes up, he's taking my spot anyway. So yeah, it's a difficult business. You're not going to get everything correct, but our fan base, and I understand why our fan base is the way it is, because if we lost them players and went and won the league, you're not fussed. Chelsea probably aren't sitting there worried about Salah and De Bruyne now, because they just won the Champions League. So they're now just happy with Mason Mount and Billy Gilmore and Kai Havertz. They're fine. Do you know what I mean? They've got Hudson-Odoi, they've got Reece James who have come through. They've got players. So they're probably, yes, it will probably burn. They probably look at the Brentford and wish you had him, but at the same time, they've managed to keep themselves going. We're in that situation because we look at where we're at. And we're thinking, Jesus, we let all that talent go, and at the moment we're not the Arsenal of old. Do you know what I mean? So, it's definitely one of the things. Hopefully, we don't lose Reece Nelson, but at the same time, as I was saying with Sancho at Man City, he's at the best club in England at the time. They're a club that's doing things. They're moving forward, and he's walked out of there because he said, "Actually, I'm not waiting for first team football." Phil Foden was the opposite. He said he believed in what Pep was offering. I'm not sure if Pep was there when Sancho left, but Phil Foden obviously believed in Pep. Yeah, Phil Foden was happy to learn under David Silva and them guys. And you can't say one was wrong and one was right, because they're both England internationals. They're both unbelievable players. They're both going to have great careers. So actually, there's no right and wrong. Sancho decided to leave City and he's gone and progressed and he's doing amazing. Foden's decided to stay and he's doing just as well. Do you know what I mean? So there's no right and wrong. You can get football at an early age and it could kill you. Or you can wait, bide your time and break through late, and you can still, do you know what I mean? It's football, isn't it? There's no right and wrong, and sometimes we do have to be a bit more patient.
Yeah,
like if the player's not ready, they're not ready.
I'm starting to find that now as well. Look, Arteta has it. I don't think case of saying, "Oh, he doesn't work well with young players." I wouldn't say that. It's worked better with some players and worse with others, like of different ages.
And that goes with everyone. Everyone's had a coach they really got on with and could get the better out of you. And then we've all had coaches who can't get nothing out of you because the way they deliver the message just doesn't work with me. Do you know what I mean? Some guys like authority. As a coach, I know there's some boys in my team who actually they've gone elsewhere and they're flourishing because you know what? The other coach might put their arm around them a bit more, tell them how good they are, and they flourish under that. Whereas I might be a bit more, come on, you need to work harder. And it doesn't work for them. Even with my son, when we coach sometimes, I don't talk to my son. I let someone else talk to him because he takes the messaging from me different than he does from another coach. So actually, when it comes to my son, you talk to him because when it's dad talking, he feels like I'm having a go or, do you know what I mean? The relationship is different. So, sometimes it's just, sometimes he's not saying he's bad with youngsters. Actually, he's, as you said, a lot of them boys are really young in that team who are performing really well. And it's actually the older players who are probably struggling more than the younger players. So, let's just wait and see. And I feel with Martinelli, I know everyone goes to the Martinelli thing. I feel he rested Martinelli, really honestly, towards the end. Martinelli's he breaks down so often.
Yeah, I've said that all along. He broke down twice after returning from injury last season.
And even before, do you know what? The season was gone, so actually there was no point risking him. Sometimes you got to let his body heal. Do you know what I mean? So I do feel that was the case with Martinelli. I'm not saying he's going to be a starter for us, but I feel he would get a lot more game time this year than he did last year. I feel Arteta actually managed him to say, I actually, again, it's that whole thing. He's a youngster. You want to play every minute. Do you know what I mean? I tell my boys all the time, listen, sometimes you've got to rest and they're out training. My best player got injured for the semi-final because he was training on a Friday night and we had a game on Saturday and his knee went. And it's actually sometimes as a coach, you've got to save the boys from themselves and actually say, do you know what? You've had enough today. Out you come. So I do feel an element of Martinelli was actually, let's just relax. You've got 15 years ahead of you. We can play you now and burn you out and do it Abu Dhabi or Jack Wilshere and your career's done in 7 years, 5 to 7 years, or actually let's just manage you through this, nurse you through it, and actually you might be able to go on and sustain and have a Ryan Giggs career and be playing up and Teddy Sheringham and play up to your 40. So
That's it. Yeah.
Sorry, hit some of them comments. I've seen a lot of comments in there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, get to the comments.
What I wanted to do first was
all right.
I think let's go through the comments quickly.
Yeah.
I think Mondi was mentioning that obviously I feel the same as well. Game withdrawal symptom, man, and the games are coming thinner now because of the latter stages of the tournament, and just hope the boys can bring it home. And I think this weekend promises to be a treat with the England game. But Gems as well has said here, I think she made a really good point. Players need time to improve. So best way sometimes is to leave where you don't have to fight for a first team starting position, but you need coaching staff that can spot a player who has the potential. I think, that's pretty much nail on the hammer. And I think it ties into the point that Amondi made, which I want to touch on a little bit, is English players aren't doing this enough. Like, we think how normal it is. Now think how normal it is, in France, or in Spain, or in Italy, or in Germany. You see all these players coming to this league or to going to other leagues, like even at a young age, if they can't get game time on their shores, they're more than happy to try going abroad. You've never throughout history really seen.
It's, the last few years, the last 5 years, you're starting to see it now, aren't you? But before that,
the German league are really exploiting.
They're taking English talent. Yeah, 100%. But you are seeing it.
Really eyes, and we try and hold on to them, and they're just like coming in and just being like, "We'll give you first team football right now," which is Lookman obviously
has been loads.
He has been good from Fulham. I like him as a player, but he went out to Leipzig. I think more English players should be doing it. But definitely
there's one boy called Jamie Gittins. He's at Dortmund now. This year, hopefully, he breaks through, but next year he's unreal. And again, he was at Reading, went from Reading to Man City, and then walked out of Man City and gone Dortmund. Yeah, probably. Yeah. He's a baller, absolute baller. So there's more boys. And do you remember we was playing in let's say what league we was playing in, what competition we was playing in, but we played against. I can't remember who we played against, but Marcus Edwards popped up, and it was like, that's an English name, and he was like, "Yeah, you come from Tottenham Academy," and he was good. The winger, don't know if you remember who he was playing against, but he was good. So it's nice to see some of them are going out to get football. Willock's older brother was another, went Benfica. And it is good to start seeing these players actually go into them leagues. We've had a few. Is it Chuba Akpom went to Greece? One of them strikers we had. One of the strikers from Arsenal went to Greece and won the league out there. I think it must have been Chuba Akpom. But yeah, it's good to see some of them start to branch out a bit and take that risk. Do you know what I mean? And actually go and source first team football elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? It's important.
Yeah, that's it. Vital for development. But look, the next story that we want to look at, this has been extremely exciting. I'll be honest. I woke up, I picked up my phone, I looked at my TikTok. There's a guy on there called Lewis, the massive Arsenal fan as well. Shout out to Lewis. And he had made a TikTok about this, and he used this exact backdrop as well in his tick.
I like it.
Very, very happy to see Arsenal, it's reported in Sky Sports News, are ahead. They've put in brackets in the race to sign Manuel Locatelli from I can never pronounce this club's name. Sassuolo.
I know who you mean.
And
I'm not even gonna try.
They've made a concrete offer for the Italy midfielder, according to Serie A club's sporting director. So it's not come from the press, or it's come through the press, but they're reporting that this has come from the sporting director of Sassuolo itself. I like Locatelli. I think, I've watched a lot of Serie A this season as well. A lot of French and a lot of German football, a little bit the Spanish league, but mostly those ones. He looks class. I think there's so much you can do with him. Like he can operate as a 6. He has done for Zazzalo, but not just as a destroyer per se, specifically. Like, he will be put there to mop up, but then he can drive forward with the ball, and he can pick up.
He's going to ball play. Yeah.
And he can also play as an 8. And I think when you've got the versatility of both, you know, you could probably play him as a 10 as well. I think anywhere in the center of midfield, in a number of different roles, he can fill. He looks like he's got a lot of quality.
He's got,
you know,
ability.
People are seeing that at the Euros. I actually thought, right, against Austria, I know that Verratti has a big reputation.
Yeah, they missed him. They missed Locatelli.
They missed Locatelli. They obviously brought Verratti back, and I think it showed. You know, yes, Jorginho is a good player.
He's class. I like Jorginho.
Yeah, you know, but who's the other central midfielder they played?
What's his name?
Berardi. Barella. Sorry, yeah. I mean, look, these guys are all good, but their profile, no one was carrying the ball forward, progressing it out of midfield from the deeper pockets, and you know, just giving that interchange to give people like Insigne or Immobile the opportunity to play. I've come back to Amondi's comment because I still think it's a long shot. From what I've heard coming out of the players' camp, he's keen to stay in Italy, and Juventus are also in for him. And I don't think we're at a stage where we could compete with Juventus, especially if he wants to stay in Italy.
Yeah,
he might look at that midfield. I mean, they've got so many. I swear, Juventus and PSG every summer they sign another central midfielder.
They just sign players. They just buy people, especially on frees. Them lot just love a free transfer.
I'm all for signing players, but it's just in the same position.
Yeah, they just love a free transfer. Them teams, they just take anybody.
What did PSG do again? They went and got Wijnaldum.
Yeah.
You know, so, I don't know. He might look at Juventus and be like, "Is there a clear pathway?" They got Ramsey there on their books. They got Rabiot. They've got they got Pjanic as well. Did they get?
He went Barcelona, didn't he? But they got the other one in exchange for him. Can't remember. They got a lot of players in there. To be fair,
they've got a lot of players in there, man. So I think that might work in our favor. But I mean, yeah, again, they've got Champions League football, and he wants to stay in Italy. So I think that's going to be a huge sticking point. I want to know what they mean when they say that we've taken the lead. The other thing as well that I think I just want to mention that connects this story to Locatelli is Juventus have now shown an interest in Xhaka as well in the recent week or so. So are they weighing up the two?
I feel, I don't know what Juventus' situation is financially, but I know they probably haven't got major millions where, yes, they can offer probably a good wage. They could probably, obviously, they could offer Champions League football, which is more than Arsenal. But like you say, they're stacked in midfield. They got, I was just thinking, they got Weston McKennie. He's decent.
The American guy,
yeah. They got Arthur. They got Arthur. They got Bentancur. They're quite heavy in midfield. And actually, will they have that transfer budget to throw at it? I feel some of the comments what Sassuolo chief executive said, like, we have a good relationship with Juventus. Is that a case of actually Arsenal just throwing 35, 40 million in? Juventus might throw 20 and 2 players or 10 and 2 players or something like that. So I feel he's said then comments as a bit of leverage. I think Locatelli probably would prefer a move to Juventus. But I do think the comments that come out are quite smart, because I think it's the way of saying to Juventus, right, you've either got to put up and play ball with us, either give us the money or we want 2 of your players or a player and money or something. And then you can have him. And again, it kind of just leaves us there to see what happens. If it doesn't work out for Juve, then I think we pick up the pieces. But what I will say is, either way, I'm getting Locatelli on a shirt this season. So I've got my Juve top ready for next year. So if he goes there, I'm putting him on the back, or I might send it back if they get him. I might be that upset. If we end up with keeping with Xhaka and we don't get him, I'll send this back. But either way, Locatelli's going on the shirt this year. He's the kind of player I want to see at the club. So yeah, fingers crossed. I feel it's just nice to, again, it's nice to be in that conversation. Do you know what I mean? Remember at the start of the Euros, we said we were looking at him. He played the first game and everyone said, oh, Arsenal's never going to get him. Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? We then linked heavier with Ruben Neves. And again, it's that thing where people were going crazy. Why haven't we signed anybody? It's like, oh, just wait a second. Like, actually, if we come out with this one for the same kind of price that he's talking about Ruben Neves for, I feel he's a better player. The only thing Neves has is that Premier League experience, doesn't he?
This is I think that I would say that is a concern of mine. You've not seen a great deal of players come from Italy and do well. Obviously, Jorginho's done very well at Chelsea.
You say that, but now he
had a tough start. But
if you go back a bit further and you go your Di Matteos and your all them guys that come in for Chelsea when they went heavy Italian,
you'd have to.
They were balling. I
think as well. In terms of the pace of the game there, and in terms of the time that you get on the ball, we're all saying that Xhaka hasn't quite worked out here on the basis of that that difference, So,
but I think the difference is though Xhaka's limited.
He's got the right physical attributes.
Yeah, Xhaka's limited.
I think he's definitely more athletic in overall, in terms of his physique.
But I'll tell you one thing.
He's not slow, but he's quick.
But I'll tell you one thing. Go on.
He's not slow. He is. He's like basically over 5 or 10 yards. He's not very quick, but once he gets into his kind of stride, that's when he's like kind of when he picks up speed. He's not one of those quick over 5 or 10 yard players. But
I'll be honest. This is the problem with the English game. You don't need to be fast. If you've got that and that's working faster than anybody else's, you don't need pace. Do you know what I mean? So again, this is the thing. Xhaka is limited, and then the lack of pace then kills him. If Xhaka was more intelligent out there, he wouldn't need pace. Santi Cazorla was the tiniest thing he's seen on the pitch, and he's dominating central midfield positions because he's great on the ball. Pirlo didn't have pace. Pirlo just sat in pockets, but you can't get near him. He's so intelligent. I remember Michael Owen was saying he was coming to the league. He's ripping it up. He's scoring goals for fun. No one could get near him. And he said, remember against Tony Adams, he's licking his lips thinking, this man's a granddad. He ain't going to get near. He ain't going to catch me. I'm going to score. He said, by the time he even realized what he was going to do, Tony Adams had read it 10 seconds before that and picked up the ball and played out. And he said, every time he thought I'm going to spin, by the time he done it, Tony Adams was there and cleaned up. So actually, yes, pace is helpful. When you got Mbappe and you got that pace to kill, yes, it's helpful. But them positions there, if your brain is functioning faster than anybody else's, you don't need pace. Look at Bergkamp. Bergkamp went the quickest, but he's so far advanced.
What I'm trying to say is his brain would have to work faster here, or his body.
Yeah, it does. It does. If you watch, I'm watching him in the Euros. His brain's working a lot quicker. It's like Jorginho. Them lot there. I said they're absolute ballers. And again, if you partner them with the right players, it's a problem. Do you know what I mean? I do understand you might get the odd game where pace and power, and do you know what I mean? And he might not be suited for that kind of game, but actually for what I feel Arteta wants to bring and wants to play, he will work wonders in that midfield for us. So if you remember from the start, when I first jumped on these streams, I called for Ruben Neves or a Tillemans. None of them are blessed with pace. None of them are the quickest, but they're ball players. They're going to get on the ball. They're going to dictate the tempo. City ain't got the fastest players. City's midfield isn't fast. Gundogan's not fast. De Bruyne's not fast. Rodri's not fast. Bernardo Silva's not fast. Fernandinho's not fast. 5 of their centre midfielders are not fast or quick. No. But they dominate the ball, and they're up there. They're quicker than anybody else. Big up
Mujahideen. Big up Mujahideen. I was just on Egal's show with him.
Bless up, brother.
Showing some love as well. I just want to come back to these quickly, because we're getting.
You would go there, innit?
We're getting the comparisons again. Who is it today? James says Armoury. Yeah. Tony says Lacazette. You know, I'm definitely going to go with Armoury. The missus goes with Armoury as well. I think that's what I'm doing here.
I heard that's why she's with you. I heard that's why she's with you still.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Mujahideen, much love, man. Good to see you on the show. But yeah, I think look, Locatelli. Yeah, I'm not saying like I'm overly concerned. I'm saying the reality is it would be a step up in terms of how quickly his body and his mind would have to work, you know, to be successful in the Premier League. And yeah, I think it would be more important, Locatelli, to have the right profile next to him. It really would.
Yeah, and with Partey, it's not a problem. Partey does that dirty work for you. Like he's the man monster in the midfield, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So, and even if you put Lokonga next to him, to me, as I said, I'm a person. Let's not be disrespectful to the rest of the league because we got very strong teams in this league. But there's only 3 games I would go into next season thinking we shouldn't be dominating the ball. That's City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. I would go. Them 3 teams will probably dominate the ball over us. The other 16 teams you play, we should be the dominant team on that ball. So actually, this is why Ben White's important, and this is why Locatelli is very important because they keep the ball ticking and will keep us in possession. So I think them, and there's a reason why them 2 are being targeted, or that style central midfield is being targeted because at the moment we don't have that ball retention. So we're always just. And then we got to try and get back in and win the ball back, and we can't get out. We need that player who's going to get on the ball, can drop a shoulder, take the ball under pressure. We haven't been good at that since Cazorla left. Before that, it was Alex Song. And then Cazorla were the 2 who would take the ball under pressure, get us out, and now we're playing on the front foot. That's been so. Xhaka can progress a ball if it's on his left foot and he's facing forwards. Yeah, he can find a pass. But you give, don't forget driving. You give that ball to Xhaka, and this is my argument with Lampard as well. You give Lampard the ball with a player up his back, and he's facing his own goal. He can't turn and get out of there. And this is why people like Xavi Alonso, and that was so important, SCN, because they say, give me the ball under pressure. I'll turn it. I'll get it forward to you. Now you can go. And again,
your Metzala, isn't it? Very much, you know, like kind of just
even for Arsenal. I remember Iwobi used to be very good at it. Iwobi was brilliant at just pinning someone. Getting the ball in it turn you, and now you're going forward. Ashley Cole, they say, was very good at getting Arsenal forward. Alexis Sanchez, he used to love it. Come in, even on the left side, come into the flipping side on the right and go. And now all of a sudden your whole team's playing forward. And again, I think since Cazorla and Wiltshire left, we haven't had someone who does that. Ramsey's very good at getting up and down and making runs off the ball, but he's not someone who's gonna get you out of a press. So if the team's pressing you, Ramsey's not getting you out of there. Sometimes he will with a little flick, but we need that player who's going to say, give me the ball under pressure, I'll get us out, and we're playing forward. And that's why he's going to be vital. So as I said, for me, it's not about pace, because I don't even care if he's doing the box-to-box, running like a madman. Just get on the ball and dominate. A bit like Jorginho does now. He just dictates the game. Do you know what I mean? Kante's had to change his positioning.
I would say his profile is definitely different to Jorginho's. I think.
He's more athletic than Jorginho. He's definitely more athletic. Jorginho's more limited. Jorginho's probably might have a better passing range, but physically he's more limited.
Range, I think Jorginho's passing range is insane. Like very good. With both his feet as well. I have to give him. But yeah, I think Locatelli. I guess we were discussing it earlier, because I don't see them getting Locatelli and Basuma, especially now.
I think it's one or the other. I think it's one or the other.
I'm reserved at casting Lokonga to the wolves in terms of putting him in there straight away, given his age and his experience level. And I am also wanting us to get more Premier League proven players. Like, as I said, the Premier League proven players that we have taken in the last 7 or 8 years have mostly, by and large, been Chelsea rejects, south of their career. In terms of, sort of what they've got.
Yeah. We haven't got anyone coming into their prime. We don't.
A few times. The one that was 27 years or younger, the last one was Danny Welbeck from United. No disrespect to Welbeck or United. that he's not going to take us where we need to get to. He was never going to do that, you know. So it's imperative. You can't just have players like, look at Pepe and how long it took him to settle. You know, it's more these things matter. They help. You know, like when you've got new players coming in, you've got players that have played in this league that know what to do, know what it takes to be successful in it. You need them integrating these players. And like, I like Locatelli, don't get me wrong. I agree with what you're saying in terms of the profile. We do need that profile, and I do see more similarities between Basuma and Lokonga than we need to, you know, for two players. Even Partey, the three of them, there are similarities in their profile.
Yeah, it's all too similar for me.
Yeah, like, but having said that, Basuma remains my top target for that reason.
Yeah, see, mine's changed, I'll be honest.
But first of all, quickly, just big up Egal, obviously, you know, jumping on his show. Massive respect for that. Yeah, I mean, you know, Mujahideen was basically asking the question, so I'm just going to get the comment up here.
Yeah,
get your thoughts, Gumzo. I mean, because, you know, you mentioned to me that you would prefer the Locatelli side of it.
Yeah, I only say the Locatelli side because, again, we all say we missed Santi Cazorla, but yeah, we're looking at the destroyer in Basuma. Don't get me wrong, Basuma can play football, and I would be happy with Basuma. He can play football, but again, I
wouldn't go as far as to say that Basuma is a destroyer. I would say he
can ball, but his main attributes is he's going to get around. He's better footballing version of Kante, and he's going to get in around. A bit like Ndidi, them guys there, that's what they are. And I feel we've got Partey, who's very similar. We've got, if we do get Lokonga, he's going to be very similar. And even if, I think one of the midfielders we keep will be El Nene, who's very similar. I feel...
Then he gone personally, but
I don't think he might go, he might not. But I feel they're all very similar. And how many times last year was he crying out for something different? Do you know what I mean? So for me, I would rather Locatelli. I'd rather both, but I just feel we've got a lot who play very similar.
Yeah,
but I don't think we get both. So I'm actually Locatelli. My second choice would be Ruben Neves. And then I'll be looking at Basuma. And don't get me wrong, I do feel Basuma is a better player than just a destroyer. He is a better player than that. But I just feel, yeah, it's just very... If we're, I don't know, Burnley or someone like that, when you think you guys want two big powerhouses in the midfield, fine. And don't get me wrong, Vieira and Petit were big powerhouses, but they had that technical ability in it, can play. And again, Basuma can play football. I do feel...
as well.
Yeah, 100%. But I just feel someone to just dictate that tempo is that, again, sometimes it's styles, isn't it? I like tiki-taka and Barcelona rather than Madrid. So, do you know what I mean? So I like that style of football. So for me, it's that I've missed it. I like Ceballos. No one else don't like Ceballos. And I haven't found another Ceballos fan anywhere apart from me. So I like someone who wants to play football. And that's my biggest criticism as a Xhaka.
If you control possession in the middle of the park, that for me is how you control a football match.
Yeah, 100%.
He who wins the midfield battle wins a game of football 9 out of 10 times, invariably. Yeah.
But what I did put, sorry, just quickly. What I did, one second. One second.
I'm gonna mute. Yeah. What I'm saying is, there is two ways you can do that. Yeah. You can either do it with controlling the football itself, yeah, or controlling like the presence, like the physicality of it. There's two ways. So you need both. Like you need to be able to do both for different games, which is why I think you can create an argument for both. That's all I was going to say before I gave you the floor back. Yeah.
Yeah. No. What I would say, I said earlier in comments is, on the flip side, if you was to say to me, if I was to build my window this year, I might not look at a 10. If it meant saving money on the 10 and bringing in Basuma and Locatelli, I would potentially do that. I feel I would give Smith Rowe as my main number 10. And there might be a couple of games where I'm going to go with a 3. I'll put one of them at the base. So it might be Locatelli at the base with them Basuma and Partey being able to roam free. And then the games where I'm looking, I'm going to dominate possession. Then actually Smith Rowe, you come back into the middle. then I pick either Basuma or Locatelli, or even Partey might be the one that gets rested. Because again, I haven't been overly convinced with him. So I'm not saying Partey's a dead cert in that midfield if I'm creating it, but actually, I would rather quicker get Basuma and Locatelli than get Locatelli or Basuma with Maddison or with Odegaard, or I'd actually rather just let Smith Rowe have the 10. You have the 10, Smith Rowe, that's yours, but there will be games where we revert to the 3 in midfield where you then go either on the wing or you start on the bench. So again, that's your Chelseas, that's your Cities, that's your Liverpools. Right, actually, we're going to just be tight in there.
Speaking of Chelsea, you dominate. Lambs, by the way. Big up Lambs.
Yes, Lambs.
That's the team there. But yeah, no, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so there'd be that. I would much, again, I would wanted the 10, but actually, I think I'd be happy. I think, yes, Smith Rowe needs his breaks. He needs someone to challenge him. But actually, do you know what? I'd be more up for saying, Smith Rowe, do you know what? You've done enough to warrant your opportunity to be my main number 10 this year. And Saka, you've done your thing. Pepe, you've done your thing. And Martinelli, you're in and around it. So even if Smith Rowe isn't available and we need a 10, Saka, you might come into the middle. Martinelli goes on the left, Pepe goes on the right. If Reece Nelson's still there, then do you know what I mean? Then I'm set in them areas. I would actually go. I wouldn't actually target a 10. I would forget the Madison talk, forget the Odegaard talk. I'd put that in Locatelli.
I would get Madison 100%. But if he's
over Locatelli and Basuma,
we've got 250, right? So
just in hindsight, if you could,
is it a little too much to ask for both? I mean, it's standard. Look, midfield midfield is where you win the games, right? It's where you win matches, right? Our midfield last season did not dominate possession. Did not dominate possession enough, like in the right areas. What it would do was pass sideways because there wasn't that person that had that invention or that bravery to want to break lines with passes. That's where I'm with you with Locatelli, right? But for me as well, what's important in the Prem is like people doing that, progressing the ball, carrying. And I think, if you're playing Locatelli and Basuma, one's got to sit, and you can do that. I think if you look at Liverpool's system, where they play a flat 3, it's not always a flat 3, but
Fabinho's a deeper one. Fabinho's a deeper. GG and Henderson can back and forth.
Yeah, and like if they're going forward, it becomes a flat when Fabinho pushes up a bit. If they're out of possession, he drops deep into the centre mid defence area or to the right back area. I like the look of this because we've got the players that can provide the creativity from the width in our fullback.
But also, that's another thing.
But what I'm saying is we need to be able to flip between a 4, because a lot of people have asked me, do you want a 4-2-3-1? Do you want a 4-3-3? I want us to have the player personnel and the profiles to not only be able to use both, but to have different types of 4-2-3-1s and different types of 4-3-3. So if you imagine Locatelli and Basuma or Partey playing together, you've got, as you said, even in that 4-2-3-1, you've got someone who is the Metzala, who is everything's kind of just ticking, like kind of going through, keeping things moving. The person next to him is winning the ball, making the 5-yard pass to him. Then he's looking at what line he can break. In the 2, you could have that. If we want a more solid 2 with a 10, then we can put Lokonga or Basuma and Partey together. Right? And then you've still got the 10 so that you can play on the counter.
Then you got your Smith Rowe.
Up high, you've got enough people behind him where he can be hit and not need to sort of drop so deep when we haven't got the ball. Or, in the 3, again, you can choose in whether the 3's flat or whether you've got a deeper one or whether you've got 3 kind of box-to-box guys in Lokonga, Basuma and Partey, or you put Locatelli in there as kind of an almost Chelsea-esque kind of pivot where Jorginho plays behind Kovacic and Kante.
Or Mount
in the middle. That gives them a really solid kind of pivot point. And Jorginho is almost that quarterback. You know,
yeah,
where
100%. And that's
giving it back to him, and then he's just bam, bam, bam,
he's
spraying
hitting things.
in all different directions. I want us to be able to flip amongst all of
and that's what I was saying. My realism is we're not going to sign everybody, so that's what I was saying. Actually, I'd rather sacrifice the 10 because we've got Smith Rowe, we got Saka, who can both do that role. So actually, I'd rather us get that solid spine of Basuma, Locatelli, Lokonga, and Partey. That is a 4 for me. And again, you could play it with a 2 or with a 3, however you want to play it. Smith Rowe then becomes your 10. So rather than, I just feel, again, we're not in Europe. So I don't want to see Smith Rowe only getting 20 games this season.
I'll be honest, we've got money 15. To spend, dude. Like, if we look at like Locatelli, what you said.
Yeah. But I don't think we have the money for Locatelli, Basuma, and Maddison. It's 2 of the 3.
Of course we do.
No, I don't think we get all 3 of them.
Right, so look, they're saying we've got 250 million, yeah? So let me tell you what the club's done. The club's taken out a bank loan from Barclays, 120 million, yeah? And they've said that you can also spend the proceeds from your player sales. Now, we know Jack is gone, Ainsley Maitland-Niles is gone, El Neni could go, Kolasinac is gone.
Maitland-Niles, I think Eddie's going.
Willock is there, Eddie's going to go. You know, like, we've got several players that are around that we're easily going to raise that from, yeah, right? So what I said about the back 3, so the midfield 3 of a double pivot or playing a 4-3-3 also extends to having a number 10 to give us the freedom of what kind of personnel we want specifically in that 10 role. Maddison is not the same type of number 10 as Smith Rowe.
Yeah,
100%. I believe that Saka could also in the future play as a 10. They are all completely different players, you know. Just because someone is a number 10, as you're aware, you can have your Trequartista, you can have your Rudimanter, you can have, you know, you can have your
manager,
you can have your Enganche, you know, you can instruct them to all do different things based on
100%. Yeah, as I said, Smith Rowe plays a 10, completely different to Odegaard.
But Maddison's a finisher, right? Maddison's a goal scoring kind of almost second striker, you know, like that you play there. You know, he would be much more prolific in front of goal than all of the others. And they're young as well. We got to remember they are young. They can't be playing 37, 38.
Yeah, 100%.
In the season.
100%.
They've got to be developed and they need some experience to do that. So yeah, I am not for 1 second believing we can't go out and get the 3 of them. All of the players that we got off the wage bill, the 8 players that we got off, Ozil, he was on big wages.
Big money.
Big wages. David Luiz, big wages. Yeah. Kolasinac, big wages. Socrates, big wages. Martinez, probably not big wages, but we got him off the wage bill nonetheless.
That's the big miss.
And then all these players that we're selling now, don't tell me we can't have all 3. I'm sorry, we can afford it.
Yeah. We'll see. Again, you know me, I've backed Edu. I think he's done a good job, I'll be honest with you. And people who are getting onto him, I think people are judging him by the previous regime. I've got faith in him. I think he's done a good job so far. I'm liking what he's done. I think he's made one mistake. Well, he made a couple. I think Martinez was a mistake, not taking Maitland-Niles money when he had the chance, and Willian. But again, I think with the Maitland-Niles at that stage, every Arsenal fan said, don't sell him, let's keep him because of what he had done in the FA Cup. So I understand that.
Cup run. Yeah. So I don't really hold that against him.
No.
I was saying the same myself. I wanted to see him do well. He's come from our academy.
100%. Yeah, 100%. But time will tell. Time will tell. Fingers crossed. As I said, the most important thing for me is actually looking at the transfer targets. It's refreshing to see us actually looking in the right markets, at the right age group, at the right scope, at the right level of quality, the players that are on the way up, rather than getting the players on the decline. So that is the most important thing for me, regardless if it's Locatelli, Neves, Basuma. Do you know what it is? It is what it is. We can't control who they're going to sign, but actually it's a big improvement of where we've been in years gone by. So that is where I'm saying actually we might get one right or wrong. We might all go Basuma's the one, and Basuma might come in and he might struggle for Arsenal. And someone else goes somewhere else for less and does really well. We never know, but actually it's the right signings we're going for, and that's the most important thing. We're targeting the right kind of players. Apart from Aaron Ramsdale, I'm not too sure on that one.
No, I don't want you. I don't even.
Hoping it's not, especially when we link with Onana first. Like, don't go from Onana to Aaron Ramsdale, and that's killed me.
He's been in talks with Inter as well. Their representatives looking at a free transfer apparently for the end of next season, and they're tendering nice for that now. So it is now or never with Onana. But that's a story for a different day. I think we need to.
Yeah, we've gone over again. Sorry, Tony.
Yeah. So, guys, it's been great to have you on the show. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the likes, subscribes, and tune in tomorrow. We'll be back with more stories. Yeah, it's been great to have you on, Gumza, as always.
Anytime, brother.
And yeah, I will catch you guys all very soon.
Love.
Peace out.